Welcome back to the Two Guys in a Cooler channel. My name's Eric, and we have got a fun salami today. We are making the Strolkino salami. This salami has really interesting origins, and depending on where you're at in Italy and what dialect you're using, it could either mean to guess or to foresee. It could also mean witch or fortune teller. This salami is said to predict the quality of your culatello before it's finished, as it uses the trimmings from the hind leg when processing a culatello. Let me show you how we made it. The first thing we did was buy a hind leg of pig. I'm deboning it right now so that we can process culatello. And there's my culatello right there. If you're not going to be making culatello, but you want to make this recipe, go to your butcher, buy some lean pork, preferably ham, and check out the description box below for the recipe. So there's our culatello on the right, that's our fiocco in the middle, and here's some pieces that we're not going to use. So we're going to use that to make the strolchino. I've separated my fat from my meat because I want to grind those separately. And after a quick chill, my temperature of the meat is in the low 30s. We're going to grind our fat first, and then we're going to grind our meat second. And this is totally optional. We're doing this on a 6mm plate, but you'll see why here in just a little second. Now that our meat has been ground, we're going to place this back in the freezer, and we're going to get everything else ready. First thing I want to do is get my mold ready. We're going to be using Penicillium nalgiavense, that's mold 600. This is going to give our salami a great protective mold barrier and a really nice flavor. I'm going to let that rehydrate for a little while, and notice I'm not preparing a lot. This half a cup right here is sufficient to do, 15 to 20 sticks of salami. As far as the casings go, this is traditionally a thinner salami. You could use anything from 29 to 42. I'm going to do 29 32mm, let it rehydrate a little while, and with this particular diameter salami, it should be ready in only a couple of weeks. Finally, we're going to ferment the salami, so we're going to add some lactic acid producing bacteria in the form of a starter culture called Flavor of Italy. Very easy to use, just let it rehydrate for 30 minutes and you're good to go. As far as the seasonings go with the Strolkino salami, we're going to go very simple, salt and pepper, just like we season the culatello. And now that everything's chilled, we got everything ready, we're going to go ahead and mix this in our KitchenAid stand mixer. I'm going to be mixing the meat first, and we're going to do it nice and easy on about a medium-low. Add our seasonings, and then we're going to add our starter culture, and then we're going to come back and add our fat. This is totally optional, as you can mix the meat and fat together, and it's still going to come out amazing. I just like to experiment with different marbling techniques, and this is definitely one of them. So as we add our chilled fat, and the fat is very chilled, we're now just going to mix this until the mince becomes incredibly sticky and incredibly tacky. Just like that. It should stick to the palm of your hand when you turn your hand upside down. If you overmix your salami meat, you can end up with a really crumbly texture once it's dried. So once you get to that point, stop. It's now time to stuff it into our hog casing. Now that our salami's been stuffed into its casing, we're just going to go ahead and tie it off. And notice I gave myself some gaps between each one of those sausages. And this is to cut them in half and then create my links. Now, to do that, so that our salami doesn't spill out everywhere, we're going to start by tying a regular knot. We're then going to take the excess casing and flip it over that knot and tie a double knot. And what this is going to do, this is going to protect that casing, and it's going to keep that salami from coming out. I'm then going to take the excess casing and flip it back over again and tie another double knot. As an alternative, you could also wrap a sausage netting around your strolchino and then hang it from the netting. With the sterilized sausage pricker, we're going to prick our salami, making sure that there's no air pockets, and now it's time to brush on that mold 600. I'm just using a dedicated brush, dipping it in my mold solution, and then brushing the entire surface area of our salami. And this is going to give me the best coverage using the least amount of product. But you could also dip your salami, or you could also spray it in a spray bottle. This is going to be a softer salami than most, so we're going to be targeting a 30% weight loss. So all we're going to do is weigh our salami, write down the actual weight, write down our target weight, and now it's ready to ferment. So let me show you a little trick if you want your salami to dry straight. Sausage casings naturally have a curve. If you ferment your salami on a drying rack with that curve facing down, like I'm doing here, during the fermentation process, your meat will firm up, allowing your salami to dry straight like a stick. Fermenting this salami with the flavor of Italy's starter culture allows us to ferment at 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And that happens to be the temperature of my kitchen. So all we're going to do is place some cling film over our salami. That's going to keep the humidity high, and we're going to let this ferment in our kitchen. No fermentation chamber needed. We're going to do this for 18 to 24 hours, and then we're going to check the pH. The pH of our salami should be between 4.9 and 5.2. This is considered the safe zone and the second most important hurdle when making salami. So you really want to accurately be able to test the pH of your meat. We're using a pH meter by Apera Instruments. It's easy to use, super fast, and very accurate. And most importantly, though, it offers the peace of mind knowing that you are producing a safe product to eat. The sample that we're going to be testing came from whatever meat was left over in the hopper. And the first thing we're going to notice is the visual test of our salami, and that's the color difference. It's going to be strikingly more red than it was before it fermented. As we open it up, our second test of proper fermentation is the touch test. Our salami meat should be firm to the touch. During the process of fermentation, the proteins get denatured and it actually changes the texture. Next is the aroma test. Your fermented meat should smell very pleasant. No off smells at all. Slightly sweet, slightly acidic. It should have a really, really nice smell at this point. And then finally, the most important test, the pH. This is where we get to find out if we're in the safe zone. Now remember, we're looking at 4.9 to 5.2. Anything in that range is acceptable. And Apera's pH meter gives you a little smiley face letting you know your reading is stable, and it looks like we're at 5.01, and that's good enough for me. Let's go ahead and place this into our drying chamber. This is nothing more than a modified fridge where we can control the temperature and the humidity, and both of those are critical components to making good salami. While I'm thinking about it, let me show you a before and after fermentation of this Strolkino salami. Check out that color difference. Man, that's brilliant. Absolutely beautiful. And that's what you're going to be looking for. So this is going to hang in our chamber until we get to about 30% weight loss. The conditions in our chamber are 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 80% humidity, and this particular diameter is going to take about 14, 15 days, roughly. Our salami's been hanging for 2 weeks in the chamber. We've got a beautiful mold coverage on the exterior of it. It's nice and firm. We've lost roughly about 30% weight, and we've added a lot of new projects in our chamber. So you want to make sure you stick around for some of those. Notice how our salami has dried. By fermenting with the curved side down and allowing it to hang, we get nice straight sticks. Let's go ahead and cut this open and see what it looks like. Truth, the Strolkino Salami, an opportunity to taste your culatello before it's finished. I gotta admit, very simple to make. The spice profile is very easy. We're gonna remove the hog casing because they tend to get a little rubbery, but it's completely edible, as is the mold. The marbling on the salami is simple, just like the seasoning. It's not overly exaggerated. The texture is softer than most salamis and very well held together. Overall, this salami looks beautiful. It smells amazing. Let's give it a taste. That's nice. There's a delicateness to this particular salami that's different than most other salamis. It's sweet, slightly nutty. It's got a mushroomy element to it. Very, very simple salami. The flavors of the pork really come through. And if this is any indication as to how our culatello is going to taste, oh yeah. Thanks for watching this video. If you've got any questions on how to make this salami, leave them in the comment section below. And if you're new to the channel, we'd like to say welcome. Don't forget to subscribe to be a part of all future episodes, as we've got the entire process of how to make culatello coming right up. If you thought this video was helpful in any way, be sure to leave me a thumbs up and a comment. We'll see you next week.